divine order.
Hey to all the beautiful ones out there. I want to take a moment and thank you for joining me, Trishina Barzar Hunter, on the second episode of Moving the Mountains podcast. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about healing, the healing process, the healing journey, and what it really looks like and what it feels like and the impact that it has on us. I was on Instagram pretty recently and I came across one of the many inspirational memes and pictures that we see. And it says here, let it hurt, let it bleed, let it heal, and let it go. It says that this quote was done by a Nikita Gill. And this really spoke to me. And the reason for that is because we're taught that in order to appear strong, we have to pretend like it doesn't hurt. In order to appear successful, we have to act like everything's okay, or that, our wounds aren't still harming us, that our pain isn't real, that everything is simply okay. When that's not the case. For everyone listening right now, your circumstances, what's hurt you, what you've been through, is completely different. No two of us have the same exact journey or the same exact story to tell about what they've been through or what we've been through. In my personal case, I went through 5 brain surgeries in a period of 5 years. During that same time, I had septic shock. During that same time, I had 2 strokes and 3 breast reconstruction surgeries. And the one thing that I learned is that pain is definitely real. And pretending that it's not real, pretending that it doesn't hurt, does not speed up the healing process. Denial of the pain, denial of your wounds, denial of the things that hurt you, don't help you move forward. They don't help you heal. You have to allow it to hurt for a moment. You don't have to spend years dwelling on the same hurt. But it's okay to take a moment, to take some time to feel what hurts you, whether that's physical pain, whether it's emotional pain, mental trauma. It is okay to take a period and let it hurt, to feel it. You're human. None of us are robots. So let the hurt linger for a moment. Certainly not a suggestion to dwell on it, but let it hurt. Sometimes in life, it's gonna bleed. It's messy. It's not easy. It's troublesome. Everything is just coming at us all at once. It can be something with our kids or with a marriage or our health or a loved one, loss. Especially right now, we're dealing with COVID-19, and so many people have lost loved ones or have loved ones in the hospital that are fighting for their life right now, or people that can't get their medical care because of the overwhelming impact that it's had on our health care. But nobody has to pretend that it's all okay. Let it hurt. Let it bleed. And if you've ever had a wound or a cut or anything of that nature, you'll notice that the bleeding stops when the bleeding's ready. You can pack it with gauze, you can dress it up, you can cover your wound and bandage your wound, but the bleeding stops when the bleeding is ready. You don't have control over that. No one does. You have control over reactions to that, but it's okay to feel it. Because once you have taken the time to let it hurt and you let it bleed and you let it stop bleeding, you dressed it up, you put your ointment on it, you bandaged your wounds, whether they're physical, mental, or emotional. You bandaged them all up, and finally the bleeding stopped. Then you can actually begin the healing. Then you can actually focus on letting it go. When I was going through all of my trials, going through all of my surgeries, I had friends that would tell me things like, don't tell people how bad it is. You don't want to make people feel bad. You don't want to lower morale. You want to make sure that you're upbeat at all times. And truthfully, being upbeat at all times, pretending everything is okay when you're dying inside or you're physically struggling with your health or even your emotions, and pretending everything okay is exhausting. And many of us are exhausted and worn out simply because we spend so much of our time, effort, and energy pretending that everything's okay or pretending that we're somebody that we're not. It's not to say that everybody needs to know all the details of whatever it is you might be going through, but to say that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to admit it hurts. There's nothing that says you have got to be strong all the time. And I mean this for everybody, but in a lot of ways, I really mean this to my Black women and those that really have to put up that brave front all the time because of the expectation that says that we are not allowed to hurt. We're not allowed to feel pain. We're not allowed to let it bleed. We're just supposed to skip the let it hurt. We're supposed to skip the let it bleed and go strict to let it go. Just straight to let it go is kind of how Black women and a lot of other people are just expected to handle crisis or pain or trauma or events that cause severe emotional distress. And that's really just not how it works. It just leads to us burying real pain, real trauma, deeper and deeper and deeper, which prevents it from actually healing, which prevents the wound from stopping bleeding. It prevents the scarring. It stops it from callousing over. So we can finally pick up the pieces and move on. And then it leaves us wondering why we keep going in the same cycle. And the cycle continues because the hurt was never processed. The hurt was never addressed. The wound wasn't given time to properly bleed and then properly stop so that we could heal and then we can move on. So I just wanted to give that message to you all today. It's Wellness Wednesday. It's the 1st of July, and all of us are going through a lot right now. This is a very heavy time, and nothing says you have to be A-okay. Nothing says you have to pretend to be strong for anybody. Most of us have children, and yes, we're putting on a brave front and we're staying strong for our kids. But it's okay if you hurt, because there's a lot of people hurting all over the world right now for a number of different reasons. And the bleeding will stop once the wound has been handled the right way. And then you can begin to actually heal. Take a moment and process your feelings, process your hurt, process whatever it is you're going through. And how you process might be different than someone else. I certainly hope that you're not using any self-destructive methods to do so, but take the time to feel what you're feeling. And for you, what you're feeling right now might not be hurt. It may be anger. It may be sadness. It may be frustration. But whatever that is that you're feeling, let it happen for a moment. Give yourself time to feel and process that feeling. If it needs to bleed, let it bleed a little bit. Allow yourself to process through it. Allow it to heal so that you truly can pick up and move on. Don't forget to take the time for your self-care. Spend a little time getting to know you every day. And ask yourself how you feel about whatever it is that's hurting you, whatever it is that's bothering you. Once you've done that, you're going to find that you're able to see the world a little differently because you've processed the pain and you've given yourself the opportunity to work through it, to feel it, to let it heal, and to move on. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen with me today. I appreciate your time and your attention to anything that I've had to say. If you like what I'm hearing, please like it, comment, share it so that someone else can be touched by this information and maybe it can be a light for them as well. You can find me on all social media platforms. My website is www.movingthemountains.net. I am Moving the Mountains Coaching on Instagram, and I am Moving the Mountains Coach on Facebook. And I apologize, it is Moving Mountains Coach on Facebook and Moving Mountains Coaching on Instagram. You can always reach out to me. I'm still providing complimentary coaching sessions and transformational assessments. I am here to provide a service to you. Don't hesitate to reach out. Subscribe, like, comment, share. Thank you for your time. And remember, every mountain can be moved if you are willing to take the first step.